Hello everybody, welcome back to LEGO Indiana Jones. Here we are in Chapter 2 of the Temple of Doom section of the game, Pankot Secrets. As you could see from that humorous opening cutscene. We are now in the jungles of what I believe to be India, if I'm not mistaken. And this is a pretty lengthy level. Like I said in the last video, the levels in the Temple of Doom section for some reason seem to alternate a little bit between a little bit shorter levels to a little bit longer levels. So last time, Shanghai Showdown, even, given all of the futzing around that I did, only took 15 minutes to complete. This one is more like 20 or 25, so. And there is a lot of shit to be found in this one. I believe, if I remember correctly, I get 9 out of the 10 artifact pieces in this level, because there are a lot of little secrets, and as I will get into a little bit later in the video, I do have something of a relationship with this level from playing it as a kid, and so I just remember a lot of things from it, and I've done a lot of fucking around in it, and so I know where a lot of the secret stuff is, and also a lot of it isn't too terribly out of the way. So yeah, it is a level that, for reasons, again, I will get into later on in the video, it is a level that gave me much frustration when I was a kid, and has since become one of my favorite levels in the game. I actually always enjoy doing this one. It is a little bit lengthy, but I don't know, you get a lot of different kinds of areas. You get this jungle section. In a little bit we're going to be going into a palace, and then after that you're in an underground tunnel kind of situation. Yeah, it's cool. Anyway, I hope everyone is having a good weekend. Today is Saturday when I'm recording this. It's about 7 p.m. where I'm at when I'm recording this. I was going to put this up on Friday, like I normally try to do, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but yesterday was a little bit busy, and I just couldn't really find the time, so, and also it usually takes a little while longer for the Matrix videos to get a few more views, so I just decided to, it was between doing it rather late and when I was not in a particularly, it's not that I wasn't even in a bad mood necessarily, it's just I wasn't, I knew that if I recorded it I would just be mumbling through this shit, and I wanted to be in a good mood when I recorded this episode because like I said, it's a level that I like, and it's also a longer level, so I don't want this to be one of those videos where I'm the whole time, So, but yeah, it's Saturday. It's a long weekend for me, not for everybody. Liv does not have Monday off for President's Day. Her work is not letting her do her duty as an American and take that day to reflect on the lives of our great prezzies. Also, yeah, Willie is scared of bugs, so you need to have someone who can kill bugs for her. And I didn't even notice the bug there, so I was like, why the fuck? Anyway. Yeah, have her get the shovel. There's another shovel over there, which I didn't notice at the time, but it is imperative. Not really. But if you want to get all of the artifact pieces, you want to have Indy hang on to a shovel. But which is probably why they put that one there, because you need him to go across the whip thing so that you can do this key, so you need him to be the one that has the key. And then, yeah, I go back and get the shovel, because later on there is an artifact piece in a little bit that is, you can only get to it as Indy, so, yeah. And here's me trying to get this banana the wrong way, because you need the banana to trade with the monkey, as we have established. Bananas are legal tender in the Monkey Kingdom for keys and other such items that you may need. But yeah, I'm here. It's a Saturday night. I'm not really doing anything. I have plans for tomorrow and Monday, but not for today. Liv is out with a friend of hers. So it's a boys' night in, folks. And so yeah, I'm just taking care of recording a video, and in a little bit I'm probably going to watch a movie. So that'll be fun. I'm drinking a beer at the moment. I'm having a beer. We love to do that. I'm going beer mode, you could say. And yeah, I'm probably going to be watching a Bollywood movie later. I don't know if I've said this yet in a video, but yes, I've been watching a lot of Bollywood movies lately, and I've been having a wonderful time. So I think I'm going to do another one. And I'm excited about it. I've been watching a lot of that, a lot of Bollywood stuff. I think I did talk about that. Yeah, didn't I talk about Om Shanti Om in the last video? Well, everyone go watch Om Shanti Om. I'll say that again, if I already did. Om Shanti Om is a lovely film. It's a movie about movies, one of the best kinds. That was awesome. Good job. Also, last time I was talking about the Super Bowl commercials, and I remembered something about them that I did not mention, which is that a lot of them, and this goes for a lot of commercials nowadays, I notice, and just pop culture in general, obviously, but a lot of them, regardless of the actual product at the center of it, were centered around, like, referencing old pop culture, like 90s and early 2000s pop culture. Like there's the one that had like the Sopranos opening. There was the Austin Powers GM commercial and stuff like that. And I mean, you know, no real big point here. It's something that, you know, I've talked about a million times. Anyone who knows me and has watched my stuff is already very privy to, is the idea that, you know, we're just kind of endlessly resurrecting old culture rather than making anything new. And just, you know, something I observed in watching all of the Super Bowl commercials is that is something that is reflected even in our advertising, that, you know, if you want to, like, rouse people, because I think the Dr. Evil GM commercial is one of the more talked about commercials from this year. And, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, here's a little cutscene. Both of us just clanging these shovels into these guys' skulls. Yeah, and there you had the hilarious monkey brain scene from Temple of Doom, classic. wouldn't be the original Indiana Jones trilogy really stayed true to its 1930s adventure serial origins by having the characteristic racist portrayal of Asian and Middle Eastern cultures. It just kind of comes with the territory of that kind of movie, unfortunately. But how it goes. That was like a tweet I saw recently from someone who... It was one of those people who, like... People on Twitter whose main thing on Twitter is tweeting about politics, whenever they tweet about movies or TV shows, it is the dumbest shit imaginable. I don't know what it is about people who are primarily politically minded online that they just, like, cannot comprehend images or stories. They have the most baffling opinions about movies. And this one guy was just talking about how, you know, watching big 80s action movies, like blockbuster ones like Die Hard and whatnot, and was trying to say that all of them had like an anti-capitalist bent or whatever, and someone that I follow was responding to them being like, you know, let's not kid ourselves. Like, most of the mainstream entertainment of the 1980s in America was, like, extremely reactionary. Most of the action movies of that time are about, you know, like, a cop whose main like, obstacle to them doing what they need to do is all of the, like, hoops they have to jump through to kill criminals, and like all of the rights that these criminals have, and you know, like, oh, the government is putting too many restrictions on these domestic heroes who protect us. Very much conservative. Now, but the thing is, like, those movies, a lot of them at least, also, like, kick a huge amount of ass, and a lot of them are good movies. So, like, that doesn't have to necessarily matter. You know, I watch that kind of shit all the time. Now, and then it's funny because then you have something like a Paul Verhoeven movie, like Robocop, or Total Recall, or Basic Instinct, or Starship Troopers, or Showgirls. I mean, the list goes on, of these movies of Paul Verhoeven's that were, at the time, you know, at least received more mixed reviews, or were, like, openly excoriated by critics who took everything extremely literally and were unable to see the satirical bent of those movies. Like, that kind of shit baffles me. Like, there's a tweet that went, I won't say viral, but that, you know, kind of made the rounds a couple weeks ago. Again, of a fucking, this was like a liberal politics Twitter tweeter who mostly tweets about politics and decided to watch a movie and decided to fucking tweet about it, and it was stupid as shit. And they were like, they said they like turned Robocop off like 30 minutes into it because it was copaganda. Like, first of all, yeah, turning it off 30 minutes in and then designating it as that before you see how the story actually turns out is hilarious in and of itself. But designating Robocop as propaganda, regardless of how much you've seen of it, is ridiculous. I mean, I cannot think of a movie whose like, central conceit and satire is more clear than something like Robocop or Starship Troopers, or Showgirls for that matter. You know, the criticism that Showgirls gets is kind of the same criticism that Robocop gets, except instead of graphic violence, you're talking about graphic sexuality, where it's like, you know, it's indulgent in these, you know, in the violence. Robocop is indulgent in the violence. Starship Troopers is indulgent in the violence. Showgirls is indulgent in the smuttiness and the sex, and it waters down any critique that it might have. And I don't know, I just feel like the Verhoeven's movies are very clearly about, like, not only just critiquing these things, but like actively involving you in them by being entertaining, by showing you graphic violence and graphic sexuality that is like sleazy and like fun to watch. That's like part of it, it makes that's part of what makes the message so potent, is that you're kind of caught up in everything as well. It really pulls you into the allure of the things that it's talking about, using the filmmaking. And like, I don't know, I kind of got off track there. I don't even remember how I fucking started talking about this. We're in the palace now. I mean, this is like, I don't know, it's kind of cool going around these different areas, and I just got True Adventurer, breaking all the stuff, sucking up the things. That's most of what I've been doing so far. It's a neat level. It goes on for a little while, but it's fun. And yeah, we're like maybe 2/3 of the way through it, I guess. Anyway, all of this is to say that, problematic politics or whatever doesn't necessarily have to mean that you can't like a movie. But the whole Robocop thing was basically just to acknowledge that, like, most of these people who are saying that, like, it does matter, like, oh, if you like this or that movie, then you're this or that kind of person, because you obviously obviously the filmmakers agree with every single thing that's on screen, and obviously if you're watching it and you like it, then you agree with every single conceit of the movie. Most of the people spreading that notion are people who, like, don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and can barely understand the message of a film that is, like, screaming it at them. I mean, I saw, like, fairly popular tweets about that movie Don't Look Up, which I've seen and is bad. And there are people being like, whoa, I just noticed that Don't Look Up is, like, supposed to be, like, a comment on how things are right now. And it had, like, 20,000 fucking likes of people being like, whoa, dude, really? And I'm like, I mean, that is a movie where, I mean, talk about Robocop being on the nose or obvious. Don't Look Up is a movie where the characters, like, in text tell you the message of the movie literally looking at the screen. So I don't know how... like, the fact that there's that many people who it's a revelation to them that it's supposed to be a satire of anything at all, it really like, fucking media literacy left dead in the fucking ground in America, essentially. I don't know what this thing is about. I'm assuming this is where the 10th artifact piece is, because it's the only thing that I, like, didn't do anything with. I don't know what you're supposed to do. I'm just sticking around here, but whatever. Just pull the little girl. Let's get out of here. Oh, also, with regard to the Super Bowl commercials, the Dr. Evil GM commercial. One thing I also forgot to mention is GM's announcement of its donation of $1 million toward whatever to do with climate change, toward, like, renewable energy or whatever the fuck. And of course, even if it were a greater amount of money than that, it just anytime that a big company like that, especially a high emissions company like GM, says some stuff about, like, donating a bunch of money to this or that, like, climate change cause, I'm immediately skeptical, because so many ostensibly progressive nonprofits and advocacy organizations and whatever really just exist. I mean, there's, like, a whole cottage industry of activism at this point where, like, there's people who make their bread and butter off of, raising money around saying they're solving a problem. So I'm immediately skeptical of that. But either way, it's funny to me that they do the $1 million joke to talk about how they're donating $1 million to fight climate change or whatever. And it's funny, especially in the light of the fact that they spent millions of dollars on the Super Bowl ad, which was 1 minute and 30 seconds, and a 30-second ad in this year's Super Bowl was $6.5 million. But it's funny because the whole point of the joke of the $1 million line in Austin Powers is that it's not that much money in 1997. So I just thought that was funny, and I wanted to point that out. Anyway, we're coming up on after I'm done being a fucking dumbass. This thing is a little bit wonky because the computer characters need to do, like, things that are a little bit more complicated than nothing. You have to do it as indie and just wait for them. Or you can do what I have just done here. But yeah, you have to wait for all the characters to decide to be competent, and sometimes they don't do that. And yeah, now Indy's down there, and I didn't want to wait for him, so now I gotta do this bullshit. And you can't jump up on here unless you're fucking a woman. So, yeah, whatever. Except you can if you're Indy playing as a computer. Anyway, this is the part that would always give me grief, and it's so stupid. So, fucking Willie can't do anything here because there's bugs, and she's afraid. Now, bugs and snakes and stuff will go away from fire, as you have seen in the past. So what I thought you needed to do when I first played through this game as a kid, I thought you needed to... Because I didn't know that they went away from you when you were just holding it and walking. I thought you needed to throw it. So what I would do is, I would throw the torch into the middle of the bugs, and then I would jump as Willy across. I would jump into the section in the middle, and then I would jump to the next part. And it would sometimes work, but I'd have to do it with her and Short Round, and it was hard. And I was like, this is the hardest fucking thing ever, what the hell? And then I found out that you can just fucking walk through those. So this was the level. Like, I would beat all of Raiders and Last Crusade for the first, like, 2 or 3 years that I had this game. And I would never beat Temple of Doom. I literally did not know what the last 4 chapters of this looked like. Because I could never get past that part, and it was all so fucking simple. So yeah, almost every game that I've played on this channel that I played a lot as a kid was one that I, like, couldn't beat for some dumb fucking reason. There was always a cutoff point. Like, with Battle for Bikini Bottom, it was the very last level. With the SpongeBob movie game, it was Planktopolis. You know, with Over the Hedge, it was the last level. There's always something. Lego Star Wars, there was one, I remember. And with Temple of Doom, it was that. Anyway, here we have the Satanic Sacrifice. Classic Lego game cheekiness. In the movie, this is a brutal scene where a guy gets his heart ripped out of his chest. A fucking awesome scene. And in this one, he just, it's like, haha, his undies. You know, you gotta keep it light for the kiddies, I suppose. I still stand by that they probably could have gotten away with it. I mean, it's Legos. Whatever it is, it's not going to be too graphic, but I guess even suggesting things with Legos or toys can be bad. I mean, they gave the sex scene in Team America and NC-17 at first, and those are just dolls with no genitals. And then you have stuff like the Brick Testament and everything. I don't know, I guess you can get a little wild with it with the Legos. Anyway, next time is going to be the Temple of Kali. See you then for that.